0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, calling DX on 10.
Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, this is KB3HNU, Kilo Bravo 3, Hotel, November Uniform.
Yeah, Kilo Bravo 3, Hotel November Uniform. Very good afternoon to you, old man. My name is Mark. That's Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo. And I'm in the southeast of England. I'm about 15 miles southeast of the city of London. Your signal's quite low to me on this particular radio. But I'll give you the technical details and I'll give you a proper signal report on the next over. So, Kilo Bravo 3, Hotel November Uniform. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot.
Okay, fine business, Mark. Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot. Mark, good copy. You're 5 and 6, 5 by 6 on this side. The name is Jim, Juliet, India, Mike, Jim. And we're located just to the northwest of Philadelphia, about 30 miles northwest of Philadelphia on the east coast of the U.S.
Yeah, KB3HNU M0JCF returning. Jim, near Philadelphia, or northwest of Philadelphia. Very nice to have you in the logbook today, Jim. You're peaking 5 and 5. You are peaking 5 and 5. Your signal's dropping towards my noise floor, which at the moment is Santiago 3. It is a local QR Mexico, and there's not a lot that I can do about it. So if you do dip into my noise floor on the QSB, I may lose you, but your signal's sounding good, your voice is sounding good, the audio is very good. Today, Jim, I'm using a Yaesu FT-757GX, so the Fox Tango 757 Golf X-Ray. As you probably know, it's over 40 years old. I'm running it through the FC757AT, the Yaesu auto tuner. The microphone's a Handmaster 4200 desk microphone from the late 70s, I would imagine. Heavily beloved by our CB friends and CB cousins way back in the 1980s, and I suppose still used today. I'm certainly using it on amateur radio, and the antenna's quite simple, just a 5/8 wave vertical antenna tuned for 10 meters, and we're running about 50 watts, or maybe just a touch over 50 watts. So we're on old equipment, low power, and a very simple antenna, Jim. Back to you, KB3HNU M0JCF.
Okay, Mark, no problem. KB3HNU returning to you, Mark. That's 40-year-old UZ757 and the 5-week antenna. Very good. Today. I'm also running a head-hold unit with a UZ840 Foxtrot Tango 840, and this one's probably 30 years old, so yours is a bit older, Mark. This one is doing pretty good with the stock microphone, putting out right about 100 watts, 95, 100 watts there. And we're running a 4-element beam, 4-element 11-meter antenna. And we're running the antenna tuner on it right now to get it decent SWR here on 10 meters, but it is pointed in your direction, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you're sounding good. I mean, absolutely no problems. As I say, pretty consistent at 5 and 5. And when you drop to around 5 and 3, bordering on a 4 and 3, I've just used the IF shift slightly, and it sort of raises the tone of your modulation, and it cuts out a lot of the rasping QR Mexico that I have on 10 and 12 meters in the afternoons. As I say, there's not a lot I can do about it, but yeah, you're sounding good, mate. You're sounding really good. I don't know if you'd be interested. I'll give you the whiskey X-ray today. We're up to about 17 degrees Celsius. So what's that? That's about 60, 62 degrees Fahrenheit. It's been a lovely clear day today. I went to visit my mum. She lives 60 miles away on the Kent coast, so down at near the beach, and I went to to visit her today, done a bit of gardening for her, came home and I mowed my own lawn. And I know it's a terrible sight to imagine, but I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. So that's the story here. It's a beautiful spring day here, Jim, and I think it's waking up all of the fruit trees we have in my garden, because they all appear to be bursting into blossom now. So that's the story on the weather this side, Jim. KB3HNU M0JCF.
All right, Mike 0, Julia Charlie Foxtrot, KBC, returning Mark Wallace. Sounds like you're a bit ahead of us on the spring weather. With the short down and cutting the lines, we're not quite there yet. Temperature here today is about 10 to 12, 10 or 12 degrees Celsius, a little bit cool. We had some warmer weather last week. It was a bit warmer, but now it's having a cold snap, and yeah, I'm not really seeing any fruit trees blossoming yet. We're a few weeks away from that. But it is a pretty much sunny day today, partly cloudy to sunny day, so we can't complain as long as the DX is rolling and we can make a few contacts. Copy?
Yeah, copy that. And yeah, I know what you're saying. As I say, sometimes I take a break from the radio, and then you know, I come back and there's a bit going on. There's a bit of DX going on. I think we got a few more years of this, Jim, and hopefully, because I know I really love 10 and 12 meters, and hopefully we get a few more years out of it. Then what will probably happen as the solar flux index drops off with the sunspot numbers, and we start to drift down to solar minimum, I'll probably get back into home brewing my QRP equipment. I like 40 meters, 60 meters, 80 meters, and I find that the transmitters there, AM and SSB, are a lot more forgiving to build. So I like to use those three bands lower down with QRP equipment, homebrew equipment, you know. So I'll get the DX out of my system now, and then of course we will return in a few years' time after that. But a lot of people say, well, you know, during the downtime when we're at solar minimum, just use 20 meters, 17 meters. But you know, I'm not a big fan of those bands, and they're good. I mean, you know, amateur radio is amateur radio, a band is a band. But you know, I find that 20 meters, it really is an expensive DX band. You know, everyone you talk to, not everyone, that's a lot of people I talk to, especially Europeans, on 20 meters, you know, they're running a kilowatt or more. They're running huge, great beams, normally up to 7-element beams or stacked arrays, that sort of thing. They are really serious, what I call checkbook DXs. So I tend to sort of avoid 20 meters. I'll go on it every now and again, but I don't really have the antenna as well for 20 meters. I use a long wire, a random long wire, and I use that on 20 meters. So, you know, it's fantastic on the lower bands, but on 20 meters, it really is a very big compromise. And I just end up working all of the usual suspects in South Africa, South America, and North America, East Coast. It struggles beyond that to either receive or transmit. So that's why I'll drop down to the lower bands. How about you there, Jim? KB3HNU M0JCF.
M0JCF, KB3HNU returning. Okay, bud. Yeah, I know what you mean about the sunspot cycle and the ups and downs. I've been around the region long enough to see a few of those cycles. I got into the CBs late 70s, early 80s, back when there was a peak in the sunspots, and got busy with the DX buds, and I've been working the DX through the cycles ever since that. So yeah, this is looking like a pretty good cycle that should continue for a few more years. And yeah, I know what you mean about the expensive band. We have, I have a friend here that works quite a bit locally on the 2-meter band, and he is runs legal limit 1.5 kW there on all of those bands, but I don't have any extra amplifier like that. I just have 100 watts out of the radio, and If I can't work them with that, they don't need to be worked.
Yeah, it's a very good philosophy there, you know. You go with what you've got, and as I say, you know, if you can't work them, you can't work them. Some people get really stressed about that. If you was to check out my garage shack, which is the one I'm in at the moment, Jim, you'll see that over the last year or so, I've been collecting some really old equipment, like 50s, 60s, 70s equipment, mainly hybrids, and a lot of valve equipment. Some of it is KW. It was built locally to me, just a few miles down the road. So I've made it my mission to collect a lot of this KW equipment and just restore it and use it on the lower bands. You know, that's where my fun is. I love talking on the radio, and as you can tell, maybe I talk too much and don't listen enough. But, you know, I love the older radios, and I'll just work with whatever they will put out the back. Some of them, like this one on 10 meters, is 50 watts. Others, you know, they'll put out 140 watts, 150 watts. I'll go with the flow. But the homebrew stuff, I tend to sort of stick below 10 watts. And, yeah, once again, you know, 40 meters with my long wire antenna, I can work the whole of the United Kingdom, Ireland, Scandinavia, Europe, etc. with just 5 to 10 watts. Absolutely no problems with the random long wire that I have. So, you know, and I'm happy with that. You know, as the way I see it is DX is, although there is an official definition of DX, for me it's quite subjective. You know, if I'm running just 5 watts or 1 watt, something like that, and I talk to someone 500 miles away, then, you know, for me that is DX. That's what it's all about. But yeah, I'd say I'm just you know, I'll go with what, like yourself, with whatever comes out the radio. Having said that, I am restoring my KW 1000 linear amplifier, and that should be good for about 600 watts. So as and when, you know, I've restored that amplifier, and it's just a few capacitors and resistors that need replacing now. I've been very lazy with that. Once that amplifier is done, then I'll have the 600 watts. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but we've just had a licensing change here in the UK. And with my full license, I'm now allowed 1 kilowatt. But of course, that's only on appropriate bands. So we still have parts of like this, the 160 meter band, the top band, where you can only use 32 watts on parts of that band because we're secondary users, and so on and so forth. So, you know, I'll probably have the capability in the very near future, but I won't necessarily be plugging it in and using it. As I say, I'm talking to you with 50 watts. You're talking to me with 100 watts, but I think your antenna is the kicker there. That's the killer. That's the one doing all of the heavy work. You know, you're receiving me very well, and you're transmitting to me very well. So, you know, I'm a very lazy antenna man, unfortunately. Plus here where I live, you know, we are fairly restricted in space. So that's why I use the vertical on 10 and 12. Back to you there, Jim KB3HNU M0JCF.
Nothing wrong with the long wire. I have the long wire antenna myself in the backyard. It's pretty long. It's about 70 meters long. And yeah, with the tuner, that'll get on just about any band you need. And yeah, it works fine. Can't complain. But it is nice to have the directional antenna here to get a little more kick behind the signal. I do have an old, you're talking about old equipment, I picked up an old Heath kit. I think it's Sierra Bravo 200, does that sound right? SB200 amplifier from Heath kit. Picked it up at Hamfest a year or so ago. It does not work, it powers on, got lights up, and then you start seeing some smoke roll out of the power supply area. I tried changing the capacitors in there, and that didn't do it, still smoking, so not quite sure what's wrong with it. Maybe one of these winters when there's a lot of snow on the ground outside, I'll get around to spending some more time on that, but for now, it's just on the shelf, collecting some dust. so much. Let me go. I need to get back to work before they miss me at the office. So enjoyed the QSL. Really good to make contact with you today and outside of London, and look forward to working again whenever the propagation permits. So 73, Mark. Mike 0 JCF. Kilo Bomber 3 Hotel November uniform. Mark will be clearing your final.
Yeah, KB3HNU M0 JCF. I might be drifting very, very slightly now. This radio does drift very slightly after a few long overs. But anyway, it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you today, Jim. Yeah, let you get back to work. I don't have the luxury of work anymore. I retired 18 months ago. So, you know, I retired early. I'm not an old man, but I did retire early. I was lucky. So, yeah, I don't have the pleasure of going to work for the man anymore, or for myself actually. So yeah, I've got that to look forward to now for the rest of time, we hope. All the very best, Jim. 73 to the whole family and everyone around you. Always find me on 10 meters or 12 meters and come and say hello, and I look forward. We'll talk about something different next time rather than you know, radios and weather. We'll talk about any other hobbies that we've got. I've got 101 hobbies, and as I say, I do like to talk, so I'll be sure to tell you all about them, and it'll be interesting to hear more about your locality. You take care, 73, and bye bye for now. KB3HNU M0 JCF going clear with you.
All right, thanks, Mark. Cheers.
You're absolutely welcome. QRZ, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, southeast of England. Nothing is heard. CQ